Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special Cheeky Scientist panel. Excited to have you with us. Today, we're talking about the second wave of hiring freezes that are coming up. We're seeing a lot of activity right now in terms of PhDs getting hired. However, we're also seeing things starting to bubble up in the media in different cities, different countries with lockdowns reoccurring. We're seeing some countries, such as Germany, who just announced that they're locking down large portions of their country again. What does this mean for you? We all experienced the first wave of the pandemic and we saw how it affected the job market. We were out in front of Cheeky Scientists telling you about this for weeks before it happened, because it's very similar to what happened during the 2008 financial crisis. There was a trigger that hurt the economy, financial markets crashed, then the job market crashed. In this case, hiring almost stopped completely. We had people who were extended agreements, but hadn't signed them yet and had them pulled from them. You likely experienced things going very quiet. But now things are starting to reopen in a sense, mostly psychologically for people. They're, depending on where they're located, they might be spending at least a little bit more time outdoors. Some offices are open. People are starting to get back into the job market because a lot of the government stimulus plans are ending. Depending on which country you're in again, and depending on the stimulus, a lot of the higher levels of unemployment payouts are ending. A lot of the governments are allowing some offices again to reopen up, which means that employers are seeing this time as their one window to hire people so they can get them trained. All of the hiring usually occurs kind of on an academic calendar. So there's the beginning of the year. So February to like May, think of like the conference season or what the conference season used to be. And then in the fall, September, to maybe mid-December. However, the first wave occurred at the beginning of the year. The second wave, and not to get into the virology or the infectious disease aspect of waves, I'm just talking about the second wave of the job market response, right? Everybody's looking ahead and they're seeing this now. In project management, when something comes up that you've never experienced before, like the first wave of the pandemic and lockdowns, things that we've never experienced, that's called an unknown unknown. When it happens again, now that we've been through it, it's called a known unknown. So companies know how to prepare for it. It's part of project management. That's called risk management. What does this mean for you? It means that you have a very rare 6-week window to get hired right now. All of the industry hiring is being squished into this 6-week window. After that 6 week, you're going to see another round of freezing, hiring freezes, if not additional possible layoffs, et cetera. Because it's a known unknown this time, things will probably just freeze. And that means if you don't get hired in the next 6 weeks, you could be looking at getting hired late into 2021. We want you to avoid that. So I have our panel on today. Thank you for joining, Amanda and Alejandra, Elliot. And I wanted you each to talk about what people who are watching this, PhDs who are watching this, could do to accelerate their job search during this 6-week window so they get an agreement and they actually get it signed so they can onboard remotely with the company during that second wave response. And I'll start with you, Amanda.
Okay, thank you, Isaiah. So my suggestion is, as we talk a lot in Cheeky Scientists, it's so important to add value. And now is the time, even though it may be hard, you may feel tired, when you need to just get your energy up and increase your RPMs when it comes to adding value in networking. And don't be afraid to just go for it, because that's what's going to get you over the finish line. The more people you reach out to, the less one negative response, whether that's like not answering or not accepting a connection request or not responding to a question, doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
So keep going, add value, share what experiences you have or articles that could be useful to the other person, and hold out hope that those referrals are gonna come through, because they will if you keep up the good work.
Yeah, I like what you said about RPMs, and just increase the number of people you reach out to. The one thing you need to supercharge right now, or you need to accelerate, is your reach out. And getting a reply is the first step. And then it's your job to take them deeper and deeper into deeper levels of professional intimacy, where you're asking them questions about their career and so forth. But it all starts with just more reach out. As daunting as it may seem, as de-energizing as it may seem, getting hired in a recession, which we're still in, even if we're in the 6-week hiring boom, requires you to reach out to people and to get a referral. Very important. So thank you, Amanda. Elliot, how about you? What can PhDs do to accelerate their job search during the 6-week period?
Well, I think that what Amanda said is a great way of basically going through and doing that, and lowering that activation energy for people to actually give you that referral. But what you need to start doing more so is you need to start sort of broadening who and what you're looking for, because the companies that are hiring, what they're doing, they're changing it up, because they're changing up the position titles, because there's not as much in-house positions, obviously. So they're going over, instead of having just sort of, for my background from, research science, instead of just having a scientist, it's now an analyst, because they're doing more data crunching, they're doing more stuff like remotely at home. And so you're doing a lot more, analysis. And so they're changing the titles up with that. Same thing's going over the companies that you're looking at. You're wanting to go over and not just say, again, from my background, looking at like big pharma and like biotech, you're going to want to go over and start looking at other companies, because they're also utilizing PhDs to do the same sort of work, because they're now realizing, okay, we need to switch these things up a little bit. We need to do, more data crunching, more analysis, more figuring out how to work these things out. So like, there's a lot more companies hiring PhDs, and they're hiring them in different positions. So you need to sort of broaden out that area. So not only are you broadening the people that you're connecting with, but broadening the companies that you're reaching out to. You want to go over and just do lots and lots of, value adding to all these different places for different positions at different companies. And so you just got to, not get yourself pigeonholed. So that's always one of the things. You don't want to get pigeonholed into whatever your PhD background is, but realize that your transferable skills go to a lot more, locations, a lot more job position titles and companies than you would standardly look at. Don't just pick that one or two. Look at, what the descriptions actually are asking for, so you can switch that up more.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, right? So, and it's not just about rapidity in this case, it's just about selectivity. You want to be a little bit less selective, which is fine, because it's a recession. So there's going to be fewer jobs overall. So if you were looking for a research scientist job or a researcher job, like Elliot said, realize that there's going to be a lot of data that needs to be crunched. And so if labs are shut down, there's going to be more analysts hired. So it might be a research, it might be a research analyst role. It might be an R&D analyst role instead. But look at other jobs that are trending alongside that: user experience researcher, user experience analyst, application scientist, or technical support specialist. Right? Broaden the scope of your job search and consider more job titles. So thank you very much, Amanda and Elliot, so far. Thank you for waiting. Alejandra, what is your suggestion?
Well, thank you, Isaiah. My suggestion is just to do information interviews. And information interviews, we talked about it a few times before. It's what comes after, as Amanda said, you add value to expand your network. And this is like this next point of confidence, when you don't ask them about their job. Like, to get you a job, that you ask them about their job and share that kind of thing. And one thing we have to remember is we are still in a recession. This means that companies are still not spending that much part of their budgets in marketing. So they are filling a lot of positions through network, through referrals. And that means you have to activate your network, do information interview, reach out to the people you already have leverage with, and just say, can you talk me about your job? Can you talk me about your company? You can, as Elliot said, I was looking just for researcher positions. Now I'm considering analyst positions like you do. What do you think? Would it be a good match? That kind of stuff that will help you expand your network, will help you expand the positions you're looking for. And it might actually, like, that's a great way of knowing of open positions. They might say, look, my company is hiring, we're just not advertising that position. So yeah, that would be my advice, just do information interviews.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of great advice embedded there. So even though that we're in this 6-week hiring boom, and we're seeing this with our internal numbers, a lot of transitions in the last couple of weeks, more than like in the 3 months before that. Now is your chance to get hired, but companies are still, they're not spending a lot of money on hiring. They're not putting a lot of ads out. You're probably not going to see a lot of jobs posted online. All of those resources, like Alejandro said, are going to like sales and marketing departments because the economy's down and they need to spend more on advertisements. Like they need to do 10 TV commercials instead of just doing one. So this means you have to find out about jobs by informational interviewing. Informational interviews, it's not an option. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have. You have to ask questions that are deeper and deeper in terms of levels of professional intimacy. You can't, how many of you have ever gotten a reply, you said, hi, happy holidays, or hope things are going well, etc. And they said, great, things are well, thank you, you too. And then you didn't know where to go. You didn't know where to go because you were thinking on this plane of professional intimacy. You have to go deeper. Okay, well, it's great to hear that you're doing well. Looks like you've changed job titles a couple of times. What do you like about your current role? Right, that's the first level. And then you go deeper again. Well, what are some of the challenges of that current role? What kind of qualifications do you need for that role? And then you move them all the way down to talking about what jobs might be coming up in the pipeline at their company. That's how you get insider information. And that's really what's the most valuable here, and what you need to speed up, right? The RPMs, like Amanda said, and then again, broaden your scope, be less selective in terms of the job titles you are considering, and be on the lookout for new job titles, because during disruptive times, a lot of innovation occurs, including innovation of job titles. So thank you all for your time. Thanks to our panelists. Thank you all for watching. Remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional. Thanks all.